The Right Side with Doug Billings.
Hi, everybody. Doug Billings here on the set of my show, The Right Side, a special edition today, talking with Bentley Blubaugh, a Generation Z conservative American Republican, 22 years old, running for office in his town of Goddard, Kansas, just outside of Wichita. This is what it's all about, folks. This is what we need. I harp on this all the time. Local involvement, just like my friend General Flynn says, local involvement has a national impact. Bentley Blubaugh taking up the call, taking up the mantle of America First politics in Goddard, Kansas, 22 years old, Generation Z. Folks, there's a huge swath of young men and women, exactly like Bentley, who are willing to get involved, who are on the right side of politics, and who are swaying the republic back to the divine providence of God and the intent of the founding fathers. Believe it. My interview with Bentley Blubaugh. Here we go. All right. Hi, everybody. The Right Side, Doug Billings here. Special edition with Bentley Blubaugh. Bentley, 22-year-old conservative, America First Republican who is actually running for office, doing what we have suggested everyone do, get involved in your local level of politics. That's how we recover the republic. Bentley, really good to have you on the show. Thanks for everything that you're doing.
Yes, thank you, Doug, for having me on. I really appreciate it. We've known each other for about almost 3 years now, and we've had some good conversations since then. And
Sure.
it's good to see that you're finally running for politics. I'm glad to see that. I was kind of waiting for that, and hopefully we can get you to be the next governor for Kansas. I think it's going to be a good change for Kansas if that happens.
Thanks, Bentley. Yeah, it's I'll tell you, it's an eye-opening experience, and there's a lot of people that come out of the woodwork, and it's no wonder why good people don't want to run for office. The stuff that you've got to do and the things you have to go through. I mean, you know how
Oh yeah,
this is,
yeah,
and couldn't be more proud of you as a Generation Zer who is just trying to get involved and doing what you can. You're running for city council out in
yep,
Goddard, Kansas, and
yep.
tell us how that's going.
It's going really good. I was born and raised here in Goddard. My father was a city councilman and then eventually mayor in Goddard. So I kind of have some good background on what to expect in it and kind of some formal education in that from him directly. Other than that, my uncle has been involved in politics since I was young. So politics have been always kind of close to me, and it's been very important to me to see how I can help the people around me and trying to provide an impact to the people in my community, especially in Goddard, especially. I want to provide services to them that most government can't. And these last few years, Goddard has failed to provide leadership to the people. We've been giving developers and these corporations massive amounts of money and not prioritizing the citizens that are here already. And a lot of citizens are upset about it. They seem like that they are just not looked at. Their voice isn't heard. And I think they want leadership that will represent that. And I believe that's what I can do for them.
Right on. And then on this particular city council in Goddard, Bentley, how many people will sit on that council?
So it has changed recently. A few years back, when my dad was mayor, he was actually elected mayor. And I believe in 2021, the council changed it to have five sitting members. It used to be six, and they changed it to five, got rid of one position, and they removed the elected mayor. So now it's only appointed directly through the council, which I think is completely backwards and takes away the rights of the citizens. And that is something that I will reverse if I can get the chance to, if I can convince the other council members on there to do as well.
You're right. So that's kind of crazy. I've never heard of such an arrangement. How many?
Yes.
So five council members. Do you know the ratio conservative versus liberal?
Uh, it's it's pretty nonpartisan, so it's kind of hard to tell. But if you see the meetings, you could usually tell. From what I can see, it's pretty moderate. I wouldn't say it's too conservative, too liberal in any way. Um,
What's your
even
well then?
the
What would be your gut check if you bring up this issue of, hey, we really ought to let the people of Goddard elect our mayor? What kind of response would you get from the council?
Well, I mean, yeah, it's hard to tell because they're a lot of this council now. None of them that uh, all of them that are on there now weren't there when that happened. So
Okay.
they've been just a part of this system that's been going on. And I think it might be a tough change to them, but I think both liberals and conservatives can agree that we should have an elected mayor in any town. And that's something very important to, I think both sides can agree on that. I think that's a very uh, bi bipartisan issue.
You would think so. You would
Yeah.
think. Okay. All right. I get it. Well, that's all interesting. And your part of your message is that you want to bring an American first agenda to local politics. What does that mean in your view?
Well, I think a lot of people hear America First and they think it only applies to a federal level. And to me, I think if we can start at a close community level where we help our neighbors out, make sure that they're taken care of, and that our resources are met to help us out. We could grow that out to our other neighboring communities and go on from there. Things like keeping taxes low and making sure that we have resources met, expansion is done right. If if that happens, and I think it's a good example for the federal government to also follow of, well, this city's doing good, we could kind of go off from there, and then other cities can take example from that. And if we grow our community, that could be set as a precedence for what other communities can do as well.
Excellent. Well, it certainly is the mantra that we've been talking about on this program. I continually try to remind people that the local level is where we save the republic.
Hmm.
People, you just forget Washington D.C. Change never starts there. Now, the people that work at Washington D.C. is important. We have a good president. We both like Trump. We like what he's doing. But when we're talking about trying to affect change throughout the republic, uh, and words are important. Change never starts in Washington, D.C. It always filters up through the grassroots movement. So I'm glad to hear you want to bring that America First movement to Goddard.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, and I think especially with the media now, people only hear about the federal level. And it's something that a lot of people miss the opportunity to really see what's going on in your own community. Sometimes people miss out on things. They don't fully see the big picture. But when it comes to taxes or jobs or anything like that, it is directly affected by the local level. And it's something that, yeah, the federal government could help with, but most likely they have bigger fish to catch. So it's not something you'd see exactly.
So day one, you get elected. Let's give ourselves permission to dream. You get elected, and your first 100 days. What do they look like? Where would you like to see this council go, and to what degree are you prepared to guide the council to go in America First directions?
Well, I want to make sure that the existing residents of Goddard are provided for and that they have their needs met. I want to make sure that our projects that we've been working on for the last 10 years that haven't really been touched start to get touched, start to get worked on. We have parks that have been in plans for 10 plus years now, and they are either just now breaking ground or they're still in the government stage of it where they're not getting anything done, just writing paper. So things like that, I would definitely encourage my fellow council members to have an elected mayor instead of an appointed one. So I would probably do that every meeting during my comments is say, hey, we need to look at this. We need to look at this. I have all of these citizens who are supporting me that say that they want this back as well. So yeah, that would be an important factor for me. We're facing a pretty bad crisis with developers currently where it seems like the council is just pushing growth through Goddard without really any background checks. It seems it's just there's not a common sense reform to it, and they're just pushing it through like no other. And we are struggling to maintain with our development and our resources for our schools, for the public schools. They're getting full, and the traffic's been just congested because we've added close to 2,000 to our population in these last few years, and we're a small town of roughly 5,000 now. When I was growing up, it was only about 2,500 to 3,000. So it's grown significantly since I've grown up here. And we have a huge problem with them trying to push duplexes right now, and I just don't think that's the right approach to our town. I think we're gonna turn into the mistakes that some other towns around us have done, and I don't want to see that happen to my own town.
Yep.
Uh, I'm all for affordable housing, and that's what the developers always try to push it as. But these houses are renting for 1,600 plus, and to a lot of people, that's not affordable anymore. So it's going to be something that hopefully can be looked at, and I could also convince the other council members to do so as well.
Now, so give us a sense, or give me a sense at least, of the Goddard city government. So the mayor is appointed by the city council. I assume then the mayor obviously reports into the council.
Mhm.
If is there a city manager that helps with these kinds of decisions?
Yes, yeah, there is. It's been rough the last few years. The former city manager was fired, which is a blessing because he was rough to deal with. My father had very many issues with him, and my father talked about multiple times about trying to get rid of him, and the council just couldn't do it. Finally, after he left, they finally did. But he would push projects without any looking into to the finer details, and it brought us into a deficit, and it if it wasn't done or at least looked at properly, the whole city could have faced bankruptcy, and it would have been terrible for our economy.
Right.
And over these last few years, Goddard's always had a somewhat unique idea of being an offshoot of Wichita, where people can live here, be safe, be close to Wichita, and not to worry about the crime of Wichita. And these last few years with the growth, it's been kind of hard for people to see that identity anymore that Goddard has. And I definitely want to bring that identity back to Goddard so that people can feel safe here, they can have jobs here, they can start businesses here. I'm very fortunate to have to be a part of my family's local business that's here in Goddard. We are one of the few businesses that is not a massive corporation that is local to Goddard, who has the owners that actually live in Goddard. And that's something that I am very proud of, and I hope we can keep that as long as we can. The community supports us more than we ever could have thought, and even all of the small neighboring towns do as well.
What kind of business is it?
It's a donut shop. It's a daylight donut
Nice.
shop. So it's out of Tulsa. They're a really good company. We our background's always been in real estate and similar things to that, rentals and such. And we just didn't have much to do. Our time was easy, and real estate is kind of a joke of a job now with how easy it's become. And it's kind of hard battling some inexperienced agents. That was something that was getting harder to do during,
So,
especially during COVID. People were
right.
getting it like nothing. So we looked into some businesses. We had an office building that we had vacant for a while, so we were kind of wanting to do something with it. And it's right on the heart of Main Street, so it's in a good location. And finally, we decided, well, let's do a donut shop because that was in the 10-year plan from a few years back. I believe it was the previous 10-year plan for Goddard
Great.
was to have a donut
Well,
shop.
very good.
So we kind of just listened to that and did that, and it's been going good since then.
Well, speaking of donuts, do you have a good relationship with the police force there and the county sheriff?
I I would think so. Surprisingly, I don't have too many cops coming in on the local PD, but the school police officers they support us very well. And yeah, I don't know why. It could
As far
be.
as the city government goes, though, in Goddard, what's the reporting structure? The police report up into the mayor or to the city council, and then at what role at all, if one? You'll have to remind me what county you're in. But what about the county sheriff? Is he a presence at least within the county?
Sedgwick, so we're in Sedgwick County,
Gotcha.
same as Wichita. So we do have good resources because of that. Sedgwick County is pretty present in Goddard, but it does seem like there are certain boundary disputes that they do face quite a bit. You know, cops pulling over certain people out of jurisdiction, which we're right on Kellogg, so you know we have state troopers, county sheriff, and then we have the local PD. All of them have authority on the road, so it's kind of a weird mix, but it works out pretty well, and you know we're very fortunate to have them. But as for the reporting, I don't know off the top of my head exactly how it works because it's such a small town. It's kind of strange. Like the police department we have is in the same building as the city council building, and it's no more bigger than my or our office on Main Street. So
Gotcha.
it's a small town for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and so everybody likes a good, safe, small town, and let's hope that you get the job. Let's hope that you get elected. What's next? Well, how as far as the campaign, you got an election coming up, right?
Yes, yep. Election coming up November 4th, and looking forward to that. Been praying a lot since these last few weeks because it's really starting to process with me. Every time I get nervous, even when I'm volunteering on a campaign about how it's going to go, but I always just put faith in God and see where that will guide me.
Amen. And your family, they supportive, obviously, of this and looking
Oh
forward
yes,
to it?
very
Yep.
very supportive. I didn't want to initially run because I wanted to focus on my family first. I will soon be the father of two children. I'm expecting one in February, a daughter, so I'm looking forward to that. And I wanted to make sure that I was settled in, that I had everything good going for me. That my wife was taken care of, that she had everything she needed, and my son making sure that his early education is going well, which it is. So once we got to that point and kind of got more settled in, a lot of my customers that live in Goddard, I just hear them complaining about taxes and how the city is just operating so poorly, and it seems like the council just does not work for the citizens anymore. And that was a big inspiration. I had a lot of people telling me that they wanted me to run, and I finally just decided to do it, and I'm glad I did.
I wonder if you would, we've got a few minutes here left, Bentley. What I've said in my campaign, and I think what Kansas needs as a state, maybe Goddard could benefit from it as well. And that is, a DOGE, a Department of Government Efficiency within Goddard that looks at what the city is spending money on and the departments that you have within the city, and to kind of, for lack of a better word, do an intense audit and see if there's money and redundancies to be saved there.
Yeah. Well, that's actually a very good point. I was just having a discussion with someone who was mentioning something about our park system in Goddard. And, to me, parks are very important. It's where families gather. We have a lot of homeschool families here in Goddard now, fortunately. So it's a place where they like to be. And I want to protect it as much as I can because I also have children too that I want to send them to. And not every neighborhood in Goddard has a public park. So our public parks that are municipal are important to us. And he was telling me that the people who designed the parks were just doing it in the cheapest way possible, making sure that they could get everything they can and just penny pitching everything. And because of that, we've had to replace the rubber padding on the park, I believe twice now. And the park's only been there for less than 10 years. And he just said if they would have spent the extra money and gotten a better quality system, we wouldn't have had to done that. And then I go on to find out that there's something called an impact test on that rubber material that they put down on the ground. And he believes that if they get audited on the impact test of that they will not pass. And that means that if a kid falls off a swing, they could crack their head, they could potentially die. So it's definitely we definitely need more auditing in this town about how the developers are spending the money that we give them to see if they're actually using it appropriately and not just using it as they please. And also just to make sure that other council members are being transparent, making sure that they are not a part of any organizations that they probably shouldn't be, that are probably not in the best interest for the city. We definitely have a lot of issues with corporations. The Stevens family, I'm not sure if you're too familiar with them. They own the Genesis gyms. I
Okay.
think you have one out near
Yep, we
you.
do. Yep.
But they have just, it's unfortunate to see because they have just been trying to rip all of the local support from all of our small businesses. And it just seems like they're trying to take over the city. They've been on a Starburn project for a while now, and they built their Genesis gym, they built their baseball courts. Now they're building apartment complexes. I believe it used to be it was going to be like a senior one, but I think now it's open to any age. But they're building all of that, and this land is on a Starburn project, so we're not getting too much in taxes from it, and it's pretty unfortunate to see. And they opened up a business here, which is called the Sandbox. It's a kind of a sports bar, pickleball bar,
Yep.
and it's a good business. The food is pretty decent, but it's just not local as I wish it could be. The people
Right.
don't live here. They're not actively a part of the community,
All right.
and I wish we could encourage more people to do so.
Bentley, I can't tell you how proud I am of you. You're a young man getting involved, doing the right thing, America first. Good luck to you in the upcoming election on the 4th of November. I'll be praying for you and your family, and for God's will and all of that. I wish you the best.
Well, thank you, Doug. I appreciate it, and I wish you the best too. I wish to do anything I can to support you and make you our next governor because we need someone like you.
Well, we'll come out to Goddard. We'll come out in your neck of the woods. We'll do an event or two. Let's gather up some of your Generation Z and get the youth movement involved, and we'll see what we can do.
All right, sounds good.
Ladies and gentlemen, Doug Billings with Bentley Blubaugh today on this special edition of The Right Side. Thank you for joining us. And remember, we're in this thing together. Believe it. For the Republic. Cheers.
The Right Side with Doug Billings.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the set of my show, Doug Billings. Hey, my good friends at EMP Shield, that's electromagnetic pulse, in case you're from Raytown, Missouri. Electromagnetic pulse could wipe out your home electrical system, could wipe out your vehicle. And thanks to the radical liberal agenda that was put forth under Administrator Biden and Vice Pretender Harris, there are lots of people in this country who want to do us harm. And maybe an EMP device would be their chosen weapon. But EMP Shield gives you a device that can protect you. This little baby here goes on your home outlets, a computer, a router, whatever you want to protect. And then they also have a larger model like this. You can still hold it in the palm of your hand that goes on your vehicle battery so that you can get out of trouble from point A to point B. EMPshield.com. Promo code Doug, ladies and gentlemen. Save yourself. Save your property. EMPshield.com. Promo code Doug. We're in this together, folks. Believe it. For the Republic. Cheers.
The Right Side with Doug Billings.